Some people describe you as a phoenix in the wine industry.
The three of them, they have beautiful Pinot Noir colors. We had to sell the family winery to a bigger group. I have no idea of what it is.
Same.
The elite of Burgundy, it's a perfect wine for autumn. This is difficult for me.
When were you elected president?
It's one of the rare places of Burgundy where conditions are improving.
Moving after the monks, trying to pursue what they were doing in Burgundy.
Exploring this region, trying to find the best terroirs. I was totally wrong.
Hi everyone, welcome to this first episode of Behind the Label. Thank you very much for being here today. I'm sitting with Laurent Delaunay. Hi Laurent.
Hi Antoine, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. I know
it's a pleasure.
You landed just yesterday in Hong Kong, so it's kind of a first event or different event that you have right after your plane. So I know it can be a bit exhausting, but we'll make sure that this is a good moment for you as well. So Behind the Label is a new format that we have where we blind taste wines with our guests. And so the idea is to enjoy these wines, talk about them, and talk also about your life, about what matters right now for you in the wine industry. That being said, let me try to introduce you and you'll tell me if I'm wrong. So you are Laurent Delaunay, you are the CEO, president of Delaunay, which is an amazing wine group. You have a personal experience that goes back a few dozen years now. So it was a family house at the beginning. But when you became CEO, you realized that there were terrible problems inside of this house. So you were basically forced to sell it and to go to the south of France, start back. And you actually really started back. Some people describe you as a phoenix in the wine industry because you created Les Jamelles with your wife. And from that, it was a massive success. You came back to Burgundy. And now, a few years ago, you even took back the name Delaunay, which was part of the things that you sold back then. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It was a very short summary of almost 35 years of work. Actually, yes, the Delaunay family has been involved in wine in Burgundy for now 132 years. It's my great-grandfather, Edouard, who started in the wine business in 1893. Then there were the following generations, and I joined my father in the early 90s. And exactly as you said, soon after having joined my father, we realized that there were some problems. Actually, mostly family and medical problems with my father. And it was in the early 90s, it was a very difficult economic time, strong recession. At that time, Burgundy wines were very sensible to the economic situation. And I was not even 25 years old. I did the best I could, but after 2-3 years in 1993, we realized that we were too small. We were not enough financed, and we had to sell the family winery to a bigger group. So we became part of a group, and I worked a little with them, but it was not really what I wanted to do in my life. I was a winemaker, graduated from the University of Dijon, where I met with my wife, Catherine, who is also an enologue, a winemaker. And the two of us, we wanted to make our own wines, have our own freedom of creating our own wines and so on. And being part of a bigger group, it was no longer possible. So we resigned, we stopped, and we moved to another region, the south of France, the Languedoc, which was at the time just an up-and-coming region. And we started from scratch in the Languedoc with no money, no vineyards, nothing. But actually, surprisingly, it worked pretty well. We created, you're right, Les Jamelles, varietal wines from the south of France in 1995. And we were very lucky because it became pretty successful. And that's what made it possible for us after some years to come back to Burgundy and to, long time later, 24 years later, to close the circle, because in 2017, so it's only 8 years ago, I was able to buy back the Edouard Delaunay, so our family winery, and it came back to our family.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Laurent, for these precisions. So today in Behind the Labels, we are tasting 3 different wines. They are all 3 Pinot Noir. We chose that because we
That's
thought
already a good clue. Thank you.
it's already a very good clue. But we thought it would be a nice approach, since you're from Burgundy and it's one of the 2 main grape varieties of Burgundy. So we thought it would be nice. One of them is yours, but we don't know which. 2 of them, so there is one I chose, so I know what it is, but honestly I never tasted it, so I don't have that many clues. And we do all this with the help of mine behind the screen, behind the cameras, who like mixed everything, so I have no idea of which is which. Maybe we can start by tasting the first, and at the end of this episode we're gonna try to guess where all these come from and reveal the bottle together.
It's always, blind testing is always a very difficult exercise.
Absolutely.
And it's for me, it's an exercise of humility. You have to be humble because you make a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely.
And,
for me, it's an exercise of pleasure.
Absolutely.
just like I'm happy to discover this wine. Cheers, Laurent, to this first wine.
Antoine, it's first of all, it's very interesting to have a look to the colors. The 3 of them, they have beautiful Pinot Noir colors. It's really ruby red, and I love this color. And 3 years ago, I had COVID, and I lost my nose during a few months. And actually, I worked with somebody who is called Jackie Rigaud.
Yeah.
And Jackie Rigaud developed a new way of testing wines, which is called the geosensory wine testing, where you pay attention not to the nose, not to the smells, but to the sight, what you see, and also to the taste more. And so it allowed me to develop probably a little bit more the other senses, other than just the smell.
Yeah, like the touch, texture,
Exactly.
that type
Exactly.
of thing.
So now I find it very helpful.
So you have an advantage compared to me, because this is something I have not developed enough. I'm still very academic in my tasting, so it's a bit different.
Beautiful Pinot Noir flavors. It's a wine with a lot of finesse and elegance. Very interesting. I have no idea of what it is.
Same.
I just can tell that it's definitely Pinot Noir. I really can find the main signature of Pinot Noir. Beautiful acidity.
Yeah.
But also I feel some ripeness. I feel a little of alcohol. The wine is very round and rich in the mouth. I don't think it's Burgundy for me.
No, for me it's not Burgundy. It's a bit too warm to be Burgundy. You can really feel that, and for me you even feel a little bit of spices, or I don't know how to say in English, but réglisse.
Licorice.
Yeah.
Licorice.
I feel that a little bit as well.
Maybe it comes also. I think there is a touch of barrel aging, and the licorice can come from the barrel aging. Maybe. Yes, but there is a great spiciness. We were talking before about spices and pepper and so on. I find yes, some black and grey pepper. Yeah. This would go marvelously well with a nice steak. Yes, or even with some duck, Beijing duck, Peking duck. I think it would go very well.
Very good idea. So, Laurent, why are you in Hong Kong right now?
So, first of all, I come to Asia 3 or 4 times a year. It's a very important. Asia in general is a very important market for us. I think for me, it's one of the markets of the future. And there is a great job to be done, a great task to be done to bring more education, especially when it comes to Burgundy wines, because Burgundy wines are very cultural wines. And I always love to come to visit the market, to speak about the wines, to meet with the sommeliers, the wine lovers, and so on. So I do that often. Hong Kong once or twice a year minimum. But the reason why I came especially here this time, it's because we are starting now, and for the next 3 weeks, some of our wines, for the first time ever, are going to be sold on auction, online and physically in Hong Kong by the auction house Bonhams. That's something we decided to do, which is very important. You know, we relaunched the Edouard Delaunay winery that I bought back in 17. Our first vintage was 17, but the time to have the 17 vintage ready after aging and so on, we started to sell our first wines when we came back in end of 2019, early 2020. So it's only 5 years ago. And my goal, of course, is to re-establish Edouard Delaunay in the, in the elite of Burgundy. And I think that for that, there are different steps. One of the first steps, you have, of course, to have some distribution and to convince some importers and distributors to take your wines. You have to work also with the critics and the journalists and the wine testers, especially when you are new or when you are back to the market, because we are back to the market. It's a little like if it was launching a new winery. So we submitted a lot of wines to the critics, to the sommeliers, to the wine writers, and so on. And Edouard Delaunay, by the way, is probably the winery which had the most ratings and highly rated wines in the last years in Burgundy. We had 700 ratings, over 90 points in the last 5 years, which is absolutely unique in Burgundy.
Is it because It's because spread it?
Yes, we did not hesitate. It was even a strategy to really show our wines to everybody. Because, wineries which have been here for generations and generations, the reputation was built over decades and years and so on. For us, as we had totally disappeared from the market, we have to catch up all the delay that we accumulated. So yes, we were very active in submitting our wines, but we were also very lucky because obviously it seems that our wines have pleased the testers and the critics. And one of the steps I think now is also to show to wine collectors that Edouard Delaunay can be an option, that there can be a value for Edouard Delaunay wines, and it's important to settle a price reference. We are just at the beginning of the development and the construction of the reputation and of the brand. And for wine collectors who buy some wines to collect, but I think wine is great. It's a great item to be collected, but also to be enjoyed. The great thing with wine is that as wine collectors, you can purchase a few cases. You can drink some wines for your pleasure, but you know that if you want to change, if you want to buy something else, you can resell on the market. And generally, you do that on auctions. But for auctions, you need to have some reference prices. And that's what we want to settle with this auction with Bonhams. So that's the reason why I'm here. And this auction is just starting now for the next 3 weeks. And with Bonhams, with the team of Bonhams, we are going to have a lot of tastings and dinners in the next days to show the wines, to introduce the wines to their best clients who could be interested in our wines.
And so for this auction, you must choose old vintages, I guess, or you.
So it's not really old. It's not very old vintages. It's as we relaunched Edouard Delaunay with the 2017 vintage. From the beginning, I decided not to put on the market all our wines every year. I decided to keep a part of the wines in our private wine library, in our private cellar. And we kept between 10 and 20% of the production of the best wines every year, with the goal to release them a little later when they would be a little more ready to drink. So actually what we are going to show, it's mostly vintages between 2017 and 2021.
Okay. So still already with a kind of history or
yes, but
tasting ability.
Starting just to show well for wine lovers.
Okay.
A little more ripeness and maturity now.
Okay, so thank you for that, Laurent. Maybe we move on to the game. So we have prepared the game right now. The goal is simple: is that we have selected a few wines that are related to you, and the name of the game is which wine would you choose? So I don't know if you guys see the computer we have here, but anyway, it should be on screen right now. So the game is pretty simple. We've selected 8 wines that are related to you, and you must choose in different situations which wine would you choose. So without further ado, so these are the 8 wines we've selected for this game. So for you guys, it's on screen. And let me check the first situation. So which wine would you choose to celebrate the end of the harvest?
I think I would choose the one which is called Cellars. Cellars, it's a Pinot Noir which is coming from our own vineyards in the Languedoc, domaine de la Métairie d'Allon, which is a domain, an estate of 25 hectares, Pinot Noirs and Chardonnays in Limoux, on the foothills of the Pyrenees, altitude vineyards it's in the Languedoc, but that's altitude vineyards, and that's a place of the Languedoc where the climate is cooler and with more humidity because we are on the foothills of the Pyrenees. And I am really in love with, especially with this cuvée, which is one of our vineyards. It's a special terroir. And especially now, it's my daughter, Jeanne, who joined us and who is in charge of this vineyard for 2 years now. And what she's doing, her first vintage was 2023. I think she's really improving the quality of the wines. There is a great potential. And I love these wines. And you said celebrate the end of the harvest. So normally you celebrate the end of the harvest in September, October. And it's a perfect wine for autumn, for fall, because there is a nice depth, nice richness. There is a kind of earthiness in this wine, which makes me feel about that specific season.
Which one would you choose for a romantic dinner?
Or probably that's a difficult choice. Probably the Champagne, Maurice Grumier, which is a beautiful independent wine grower from Champagne, who we distribute on the market. We help him with its distribution. But the Chardonnay La Bélangère is also a solution because it's a kind of romantic, easy to drink vin de France, coming mostly from the south of France. And that's a brand that we created with Catherine, my wife. And this range of wines is named after La Bélangère, who was a kind of actor. She was a character from the beginning of the 20th century, and she was the muse of some impressionist painters such as Gauguin, and she was a very romantic person. So for a romantic dinner, maybe that one.
For a barbecue party?
I would choose probably the Rouge Osé. The Rouge Osé, Les Jamelles. So Les Jamelles is our main brand created in the south of France with Catherine, my wife. And the Rouge Osé, it's a new trend. It's a new trend. It's light red wines made with a lot of similarities with rosé wines. The goal with the light red wines is to have red wines that you can drink immediately out of the fridge, chilled, exactly as you do with rosé wines. So they are very light in terms of texture, in terms of structure, but with a lot of perfumes. It's really like a lot of candy perfumes, and it goes perfectly with simple food like barbecue.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it last summer. It was really nice. For a quiet evening alone?
Alone? Maybe the Les Jamelles minimaliste. because when you are alone, you want to pay more attention to your well-being and to your health. And the Legionnaire Minimalist, it's a wine which is made without any additives, without any sulfites, specifically for people who have allergies and so on. But when you want to have a quiet evening and sure to not have any headache in the following morning, it could be a good choice.
To pair with a pizza.
Oh, that's more difficult because I have already mentioned a lot. Maybe Domaine des Aumes, which is it Pic Saint-Loup, the appellation? I don't remember exactly. Or so it's coming from the Languedoc. Nice, typically Languedoc wines with nice spiciness, nice texture, kind of sucrosity, which can go very well with pizza, which is definitely a Mediterranean dish.
Close to the region.
Absolutely.
And that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I did not mention the Nuits-Saint-Georges Edouard Delaunay.
I thought that you were keeping it for the end, but unfortunately there was not any occasion right now for it. But for any good dinner, Nuits-Saint-Georges is always a nice choice. Let's move on to what you're doing right now at BIVB. But before that, we need to taste the second wine. I almost forget it. So let's try this one.
Very similar in the color. Huh? It's
all three are.
Yes, absolutely.
Almost.
And
this one is a bit more deep, but.
This is difficult for me. You said that there is one of my wines among the others.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is. Definitely, it was not the first one. This one, I'm hesitating.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm hesitating because we are afternoon after I just had a coffee. So I know that when I have a coffee, immediately after, I feel a little bit more the acidity of the wine. Here, there is a very nice acidity.
Yeah, this one we feel it very
nice texture as well. There is something interesting in the mouth, in the pairing of the acidity and the tannins. It's less warm and less. There is less alcohol than the previous one.
And in terms of flavor, we don't have the spices that we had before. It's way more on the fruit
and floral as well.
Floral, absolutely.
It smells. It's very on the rose, rose flower. And I don't know exactly what is the name, but the rose bushes, the rose trees, they have kind of fruit.
Yeah.
And it smells exactly like the fruit of the rose tree.
I don't have enough rose tree around me, so I can't say this right now, but I will try to find some at the flower market. So Laurent, just before tasting this wine, I was telling that you're now president of BIVB. So it's the Burgundy organization of wine growers, winemakers.
That we have changed the name, and now we are called the Comité Bourgogne.
The
Burgundy Wine Committee.
Okay. So when were you elected president?
Almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. I was elected president for 4 years, so I'm just arriving to the end.
The end of your first term.
Of my first term. I can apply for a second one, and I have decided recently to apply. So
4 more years.
If everything goes well, I have to go through the election now.
4 more years, as the American would say. So what are the prerogatives of BIV, of Comité
Bourgogne?
Comité Bourgogne.
It's first of all, as you said, it's a general professional organization, which is gathering all the Burgundy producers. In Burgundy is a large region. It's small at the global scale, but it's pretty large geographically. From Chablis in the north to Mâcon in the south, it's about almost 250 kilometers. And we have about 4,000 producers in Burgundy. That's a lot of small producers. And the role of the BIVB is to do collectively all what cannot be done individually at the level of each estate and each domain. And we do mostly three different things. Promotion and marketing, developing the image of Burgundy wines all over the world by wine tastings, education, and so on. We do more and more, and that's the most important, research and development, bringing the Burgundy producers some solutions, technical solutions to the challenges that they are facing in the vineyards and in the cellars. And with the climate change and the climate disruption, we have more and more challenges. And so the growers ask us, they tell us we have that problem. This rootstock, for instance, is not giving good results in the vineyards. We have more and more problems with the heat and the drought in the vineyards. So we try to find some technical solutions for them. That's the most important. And the last responsibility is more what I would call economic intelligence. It's bringing all the producers as many information as possible about the markets, the local market, what we call the primary market. A lot of wine growers are selling their grapes or their wines to local negociants. And so, for instance, we every month we publish the rates, the prices, the average prices, and all the transactions. We follow all the transactions. We are able to tell exactly how much stock is left and so on. But also some market studies, market surveys. For instance, bringing them some information about the Chinese market, how is it developing for Burgundy wines, statistics, and what is the structure of the market. How can you, when you are a Burgundy producer, how do you calculate your prices for the Chinese market or for, I don't know, the American market and things like that. Yeah. So that's the three main activities.
Yeah, how you integrate with customs also, I guess.
Exactly.
All that type of things.
Exactly.
Okay, one of the, so you mentioned climate change and trying to find solutions. So I guess there are solutions in the vineyards, adaptation, that type of things. One of the things you're also talking a lot about is Hautes-Côtes. So it's a new terroirs for Burgundy. Can you tell us, sorry, a bit more about Hautes-Côtes?
Hautes-Côtes is very important for me. It's first of all, I would like to say that I'm totally convinced that with time, but everything takes a lot of time in viticulture. Viticulture, it's a very long term.
Burgundy is thousands of years old. So.
Absolutely. But with time, I am absolutely convinced that we are going to find some solutions to adapt to the climate change. But it doesn't prevent us to explore some new terroirs. And of course, when you think about warming, you think that maybe you should go further north and it's going to be cooler. But actually, if you go further north, you don't know what you are going to find in terms of terroirs. We are very lucky in Burgundy because as Burgundy is a long stripe going from the north to the south, so it's east facing, on the west part of the Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, Côte Chalonnaise, Mâconnais, and so on, everywhere in Burgundy, you can find some hills, which are on average about 150 meters higher. And that's what we call the Hautes-Côtes. And you have Haute-Côte de Nuit on top of the Côte de Nuit. You have Haute-Côte de Beaune on top of the Côte de Beaune. And there have always been some vineyards in the Hautes-Côtes, but before the global warming, up to 30 years ago, the conditions were a little too extreme. Actually, that's very interesting because when you look at it on a very long time, on centuries, the average temperature has always varied from 1 to 1.5 degrees. And 1 to 1.5 degrees, it makes a difference of wines that have a lot of difficulties to ripen or wines that are, on the contrary, showing very well. In the early Middle Age, up to the 13th, 14th century, the Hautes-Côtes were producing wines that were considered as good as the Côte de Nuit and Côte de Beaune wines. And then from about the 14th century, the temperature changed. We entered into what we call the mini ice age, and the temperature dropped by about 1 to 1.5 degrees, and the conditions became too difficult, and actually Hautes-Côtes was only devoted to ordinary wines, to entry-level wines, until about 1950, 1960. And it's only in the last 30, 40 years that with the warming, conditions became good enough in the Hautes-Côtes. And now it seems that nowadays, we are in 2025, the conditions are becoming better and better in the Hautes-Côtes. One of the other interesting things in the Hautes-Côtes is that not everything is planted. When you go in the Côte de Nuit and Côte de Beaune, 99% of the land is planted.
Forest.
In the Hautes-Côtes, we have a lot of forest, we have a lot of different crops and so on, but only about 50% of the classified land are planted now, so we can develop in the Hautes-Côtes. So it's one of the rare places of Burgundy where conditions are improving, they are becoming better and better, and we also can expand a little. So a lot of people think that the Hautes-Côtes are probably the future of Burgundy, and we are seeing and we are going to see more and more Hautes-Côtes wines coming. And for me, for my generation, my family is originating from the Hautes-Côtes, so I know very well the Hautes-Côtes de Nuit, exploring this region, trying to find the best terroirs, and the terroirs which, I don't know, in 30, 50 years from now can become can compete with the best terroirs of the Côte de Nuit. It's a very interesting and fascinating job.
Yeah, and it's kind of moving after the monks, trying to pursue what they were doing in Burgundy.
That's exactly what the monks did in the Middle Age, in Côte de Nuit and Côte de Beaune. We have to do this exploration now, and we have to do exactly the same. Find the best terroirs, vinify them apart from the rest to see if year after year, with consistency, they are different and they show some interesting character. And also, that's what we call in Burgundy the climat approach. Of course, knowing that climat in Burgundy does not mean climate, but it means terroir.
Let's move on to the third wine of today, the last and third.
Oh, I love the color, which is beautiful but a little deeper.
Yeah, this one is a bit deeper. It's a bit more, a deep red. Grenat, it would be, I think, in French. So a bit more discreet, a bit more, a bit less exuberant than the first one, definitely.
A little more closed, you're right, on the nose, but beautiful mouth, very elegant, very long, great acidity at the same time.
I feel maybe a little bit of herbal as well on this one. Like close to what Cabernet Franc could show in some
Yes,
point.
it's you're right. There is yes, there is a little green character at the end of the mouth, mostly, and but it's there is a great tannin, and it's obviously a very young wine with which is, according to me, showing a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
But I love the character. There is a strong personality. It's a wine with a lot of identity.
Yeah, I agree. And in the terroirs, in the climate that we were talking about just before, I think it's the type of wine that
I feel a little the alcohol as well. It's pretty ripe.
All right. So finally, Laurent, so you mentioned it when I showed you the different wines in the games that we did. You now have your daughter working with you. It's been a few years. It's been
2 years.
2 years. So how is it going?
It's going very well.
Because
it's going very well. I must say that it's very rewarding to have your children working with you. Especially for us, we have only one child, one daughter, Jeanne. She is now 27. She has studied business and winemaking, viticulture. She was very lucky because she had the opportunity to do a lot of internships. She worked 6 months at Domaine de la Romanée-Conti. She worked 1 year with Thibault Ligier-Belair in Nuits-Saint-Georges. She worked in Australia. She worked in California. And she finally decided to join us. For the time being, she's in charge of our high-end winery in the Languedoc, producing the cellars wine that we saw before. And for me, it's very rewarding, especially for us, because as you know, it's something which is pretty usual in Burgundy, in wine families, to have generation coming after generation. It was the case in my family until my generation.
Yeah.
But with the fact that we have sold the family winery, I mean, nothing was showing that it would come back to our family. And having now Jeanne, my daughter, joining us, once again, I see now the future continuing in the next generations. So it's very rewarding. I think in the wine industry, we have a special relationship with time.
Yeah.
Time is a very important factor. Everything takes a lot of time. When you produce a wine, you age it in barrels during sometimes 20 months, 24 months. Then you bottle it. Then you have to wait until it's ready. You can keep it a very long time. When you plant a new vineyard, especially in a region like Burgundy, it's not for yourself. It's for your children, your great children, sometimes your great grandchildren. You plant vineyards for 50 years, 80 years. And we inherited of what planted our ancestors, of all the tradition they have developed. So we are always thinking about very, very long term. So for a family like my family, seeing that it's probably going to continue over the next generations, it's very rewarding.
And so now you can't have any dinner or family lunch without the full team being gathered with your wife and daughter working.
Yes. We are all wine lovers. My two girls, Catherine, my wife, and Jeanne, are fantastic wine testers. Jeanne is really a wine lover. She became friends with a lot of young producers and winemakers from her generation. She's very open-minded, and we every time we have a lunch or a dinner, we make very interesting tasting experiences and so on.
Amazing, and we definitely love about Delaunay and Solar that we talked about before is definitely an amazing wine. Thank you very much for all this, Laurent. Before continuing and revealing those wines, I obviously need to thank a few persons. First thing, I want to thank you for being the first guest to come
I'm very honored
on this.
Thank you, Antoine.
Thank you for being the guinea pig of this new show. I would like to thank WineApp and David He in China. They provided one of the wine that we have here. And I also want to thank Le Silène. It's the place where we are recording. You can see that it's pretty nice. It's definitely an amazing place for wine lovers in Hong Kong. So if you are ever in Hong Kong and want to taste good wines, you know where to come. They have an amazing selection. Maybe they are just missing some Delaunay wines. I don't know.
We've discussed that.
But you will discuss that after. So with that said, thanks again to everyone. Links are in the comment in the description if you want to check this. So Laurent, do you have any idea of what we have? So for the people looking at watching this show, we have glasses number 1, 2, 3, and mine has the bottles behind. Maybe let's try to find your wine, and then we'll discuss about the others. Do you have any idea of which one is yours?
I think so, but I'm not sure, because it's always a trap. You can always make some mistake. I would say it's the number 2, the one in the middle. Agree. And I think it's a Nuits-Saint-Georges, and especially that's the one for me, which is developing the most flavors. It has the most intensity. Aromatic intensity on the nose, and in the mouth is well integrated with nice freshness and acidity, but everything is well balanced, and especially it's coming from Burgundy, so it's a northern wine producing region, and alcohol is not too high. Mm-hmm. And so that's my guess. I'm not sure, we'll see. And the two others are, I think they are two very well made Pinot Noirs. For me, they are more New World. No idea from where they come from. There may be one maybe I'm sure I'm going to be wrong, but I was in California 3 weeks ago, and I tasted some fantastic Pinot Noirs, especially in the Sonoma Valley, Russian River, and so on. And number one is pretty close to what I tasted, but
okay, yeah. For me, I agree that the wine number 2 is also your wine. If I have to choose, for me the main reason is more the texture that we have in mouth. So you talked about alcohol, but the balance between acidity and everything, it really looks like Burgundy.
There is something very silky.
Yeah, exactly.
Fresh, good acidity, but very silky.
Yeah, exactly, and something that we recognize a bit less in the 2 others. Then honestly, I know the wines that we have chosen, so I'm a bit more at advantage in this game. We'll try for the next episode that I don't know anything, because I could probably tell you which wine is which wine. But
I'm very curious now.
But it would be kind of a shame. So we bet on number 2 being your wine, and the 2 others are going to be, the 3 wines are now going to be revealed. We're just gonna call Aurélien. All right, so we are back in the show, and we are joined with Aurélien, who is definitely an amazing wine taster and the owner here of Silène Wine Bar in Hong Kong. So we've already presented the Silène and tell everyone that the Silène is an amazing place for wine lovers. Aurélien, you are today the judge of this tasting. You're revealing the wines to us. So maybe I'll let you go for the first one.
Thank you, Antoine. It's a great pleasure to be here with you, and thanks for trusting Silène to host this interview with Edouard. So
with Laurent, the name
Laurent
is
from Edouard, Edouard Delaunay. Yeah. But I'm used to it.
So the first one, obviously, is we all know that we are talking about Pinot Noir, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is not a Pinot Noir from Europe. It's a Pinot Noir from Asia, from China.
It's a bit difficult for me to hold the bottle.
I can do the reveal. So 2019. I'm gonna let you.
It's a Pinot Noir based in they are based in Hebei, so it's just in the southwest of Beijing, and it's for me it's one of the amazing estates in China. They also do a Tempranillo that is absolutely amazing. They have a Riesling as well, made in China, and it's really nice.
It's very impressive. And that's the one I said that was probably coming from California. So
yeah.
I was totally wrong, as usual.
If you want to check the wines, everything will be obviously in description of this podcast. It's a 2019 vintage, and for me it was it's still the beginning for this wine, even though it's still a bit.
It's still very young.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, it's still very young, and
but it's. I'm really amazed at what is happening for terroir wines in China. And I had the opportunity to participate to a few tastings, both in France and in China. There is the rise of terroir wines in China is really amazing.
Yeah. What's happening is really great, and we're trying to do a few things about Chinese wine. So we'll put the link anywhere now on screen. Let's go for the second wine.
So wine number 2 is the one that Laurent is very familiar with, because it's like Edouard Delaunay. It's a Nuits-Saint-Georges village, 2022.
So that's the one we found. We were right.
Exactly. So we were right. So
we are reassured.
So we have a free dinner. We can have free dinner at Dai Padong this evening. That's perfect. But yeah, thank you very much for bringing this wine.
It's really a pleasure, and especially Nuits-Saint-Georges. It's the village where my family is originating. So I have a special appeal for Nuits-Saint-Georges wines. It's a very interesting terroir with a lot of diversity from the north to the south and so on. And featuring the wines of Nuits-Saint-Georges is really something that we love to do.
It's always really cool to go spend a few days in Nuits-Saint-Georges and have amazing moments there. Let's go for the third one.
So the third one, it's a wine from we are staying in Europe. So it's a Pinot Noir from Italy, from the north part of Italy. A region called Oltrepo Pavese, located in the south part of Milan. And it's where the Pinot Noir was for the first time introduced in Italy in the 17th century.
What is the vintage?
And it's like 2000, I think it's 2019 as well.
2019.
It's a single vineyard from this estate called Cordero San Giorgio. Cordero San Giorgio is it's a new project from the Cordero family, the ex-owner of Vieti in Piemonte. And this is like the new project that they set up after selling the winery to a big American company.
But the Piemonte people are Pinot Noirs and Chardonnays, Burgundy wines lovers. And we have a lot of friendship with the Piedmont. Really.
Oh, they are, and they are also produce very nice Chardonnay, and they started to produce Metodo Classico, which is like the champagne method in Italy, and Oltrepo was like the birthplace of.
So I'm not so surprised because we found a little more structure, acidity and tannin, and this is very typical from this region.
So amazing work once again by the team of Taster here today. It was an amazing moment. Thank you very much for watching this show. Thank you very much, Laurent, for being here.
Thank you to you, Antoine.
It was amazing
to Aurélien aussi.
To share this moment. Aurélien, thank you
to have you today.
Thank you very much for welcoming us at Le Silène. Once again, all the links are in description. See you soon in Behind the Label. Take care.